It is Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan, intern Sawyer along for the ride as well. But aren't you the Twins playing the A's and you're wearing an A's shirt? What do we got?
Yeah, these were just in the press box last night.
Oh, yes.
How good is that, Chris?
That is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I had to wear. I'm also a former A's player. You know, this is the Plouffe Bowl. That's what they're calling it.
Yeah.
But no, I saw this shirt and I was like, I got to have one of those.
What's the report on the stadium and everything?
You know what? The facilities are nice. It's a little tighter than I think a lot of people are used to. The clubhouse is a little smaller, but it's nice. Batting cage area is nice. The playing surface looked great. There's nothing to complain about. It's a miniature size Major League Baseball stadium. They did a good job with it. I really think they did.
How's the atmosphere?
It was good. The Twins, put up a 6 spot in the second, so it kind of like curbed everyone's enthusiasm, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But for a Monday night, decent.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Twins A's, one of just a handful of games on the schedule, so kind of light, but we're not short on topics. Let's start with the Tigers, who took it to the Chicago White Sox and gave us one of the better defensive plays of the year. Little foul pop, but this is our tip of the cap, by the way. It was the law firm of Dingler and McKinstry on this one. You ever have one of these plays? Well, you were at third.
I don't think where the catcher batted me the ball. No, that's incredible. Hand-eye right there for McKinstry, just to be able to stay on that. And was that like it almost looked like it was on purpose? I know that was not on purpose, but it almost looked like it was.
Yeah, it did look like it.
But that was a clank. That was a clank.
Yeah, the most famous one of those I can remember, excuse me, was during the 1980 World Series when the Phillies were playing the Royals. Bob Boone, Aaron and Brett's dad, goes over toward the first base dugout. Ball pops out of his mitt. He was a great defensive catcher, and Pete Rose is right there. Of course, he snags it, spikes the ball down on the turf. That's his whole thing.
Yeah, I don't remember if I had anyone like that, but we just had that earlier in the season with Wilyer Abreu and Ceddanne Rafaela.
That one in the outfield was, to me, significantly better just because of the moving pieces and everything and the fact he brought the ball back.
Yeah.
This was a foul ball. It was cool. It was neat. Deserved the tip of the cap. But offensively, the best team in baseball, they felt right at home on the road. Kerry Carpenter going for the hat trick.
Kerry, one more time. Kerry Carpenter's got 2. He has 3.
Going through some downs recently for a little while, not having my best at bats, and then these ups, they're just one at bat away really, and so that's what I was thinking. I was just grateful and wanting to put a good swing on it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, those are special nights, and Carp can do it. I mean, I don't know, how often anybody ever sees it, but when he gets good pitches to hit, he's as dangerous as anybody.
That, of course, A.J. Hinch to finish it up after Kerry Carpenter, who became the first Tiger since Victor Martinez 9 years ago to have a 3-homer game. He is one of the most interesting players in the sport because if you were to look at the Tigers lineup and say who's their most dangerous hitter, I think you say Kerry Carpenter, to be honest with you. I think he is more dangerous, in my opinion, than Riley Green. But the thing is, he never gets to see left-handed pitching. I think he's got 35 or 36 plate appearances against lefties all year, sub 600 OPS. Man, he mashes right-handed pitching.
He does. I don't know if that was a slight at baseball fans right there by A.J. Hinch. I feel like we do see Kerry Carpenter quite often. No, he's right, though. Like right now, or not right now, but typically if you throw a ball in the zone to him, he is going to get the big part of the bat to it, and he's strong too. So it's fun watching him play baseball. It really is. And now the Tigers are kind of rounding into form. Some pieces are falling into place. Parker Meadows comes back, so that kind of changes the dynamic of what they're going to do in their outfield, what they're going to do in their infield. And I think the best team in baseball is going to get a little bit better because of it.
Right. So Veerling came back for a short time. He went back on the injured list. Parker Meadows made his season debut last night, got a couple of hits, made a big catch as well. He gives him a ton of athleticism, not only defensively, but offensively. He had a triple. Is this lineup, as presently constructed, assuming Veerling comes back soon, good enough to win the World Series?
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, right now, guys with significant plate appearances for the Tigers, there's 8 of them with an OPS plus above 100. So, like, they're going to give you good at bats up and down the lineup. And then you pair that with the fact that they have one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. You don't have to be an offensive juggernaut. They're going to score runs, 4th in Major League Baseball in runs. One area that they do really well in is they hit with runners in scoring position with 2 outs. I mean, getting clutch hits also helps. But yes, I think as currently constructed, they can win a World Series with this team. I mean, I think they have very much a formula right now. And like I said, with Meadows there and they've had some holes at shortstop and third base have kind of been their offensive holes. And now you can move. I'm assuming they're going to put Javi Baez in the infield third base. He played shortstop last night. I think that's going to be the play. And if he continues to hit, then you kind of fill some of those holes they had in the offense.
Well, that's the thing is that I look around their team. I think, first of all, we have to kind of adjust our thinking a little bit with them because they made that huge play for Alex Bregman, who turned them down for a deal in Boston. So they made a huge play for him in the offseason. But right now, is there a guy that's going to be available that can change the complexion of their lineup? I don't think so. I think there's going to be a lot of guys who are like the dudes that they have right now, unless there's somebody that can shake loose. If one of these teams that we think is fighting for a playoff spot that decides to go the other way, and then all of a sudden they become available, like I look up the middle for them and say, can they improve offensively there? Yeah, because I don't know if Baez is going to continue at this rate. You talked about some of his peripherals not being great, and so it leans toward him regressing a bit. I don't see a huge bat out there that's going to make a world of difference for this squad.
I mean, the one, maybe it doesn't make sense now that Parker Meadows is back, but Cedric Mullins, I feel like is going to be an interesting trade piece if the Orioles decide to do that. And he'd be, I think, an upgrade, but you're right. I mean, they could run this team out there right now, as constructed and expect to win baseball games, Chris. So I think if something opens up, you're right. If a shortstop becomes available or, a corner infielder becomes available, they maybe pull the trigger there, but they don't have to.
Okay, let me ask you this, and I want to finish the discussion with the guy we started with, and that's Kerry Carpenter. Let's just say, yes, it's Yankees against Tigers. Does he sit against Max Fried and Carlos Rodon?
It's interesting. The Twins sort of had a similar situation with Trevor Larnach, and he went into Rocco's office in spring training and says, I want more bats against lefties. So, let's start now. Let's do it in spring training. It seems like they really haven't had that discussion. And if you plan on that, if you're looking ahead, which I think the Tigers can look ahead to the postseason, if that is going to be the case, if you say, we're going to start you, Kerry, because we need you, then you better start giving him bats during the regular season.
Right. He has 35 at bats against left-handed pitching.
Yeah, I mean, you got to have him in there, I'd assume. What did they do last postseason?
Well, last postseason, he didn't face but when Tim Herron came into the game, who was the big lefty for Cleveland, they would get him out of the game. Even if it was like, let's say, the 5th inning, they would put in a right-handed stick for him, which to me is, I don't know how you can afford to do that.
Yeah, I mean, they have their method. They have, what they think works for them. So if they're into platooning, then they're going to continue to do that. It seems to me like, AJ Hinch is one of those guys that this is kind of the way we do it. But, if he continues to watch Kerry Carpenter mash right-handed pitching, it's got to get into your head about the postseason. And like I said, I mean, there's plenty of lefties that he can get at bats off in the regular season and at least just give them a 2-week run of doing it and just see how it goes.
That's what I would do. I agree with you. Maybe, hey, Tigers fans, leave something in the comments if there has been talk on whether it's on the broadcasts with Benetti or whether there's articles that you've been seeing that the Tigers plan on giving him more ABs against left-handers or what have you. Let us know. Let us know. You guys are sometimes a little better connected. All I can tell you is the numbers. He's sub 600 OPS against lefties, over 800 against right-handed pitching. All right, we're going to move on to the NLCS rematch, Mets and Dodgers. And it certainly didn't disappoint in game one of a 4-game set.
On the ground, back to Bouteau. He's got it, and the ball game is over. Jose Bouteau, with a snatch of that one-hopper back to the mound, has his first save of the season, and the Mets win a thriller in 10 innings from the Dodgers, 4-3. They've beaten the Dodgers 3 out of 4 this season.
Really, really fun game. It started with a Lindor home run. Shohei hit one to the moon, almost got a walk-off in the 9th inning, ended up tying it up with a sac fly. Maybe that was the 8th, but this one forcing extras. Tanner Scott struggled. We'll get to that momentarily. But I start off with this. Fact or fiction? As presently constructed, the Mets are a more complete team than the LA Dodgers.
That's such a good question, Chris. I gotta say they're even.
Oh,
Could I
gosh.
say that? Well, I still think the Dodgers offense is better than the New York Mets offense. I do, but we're seeing such better starting pitching performances and just overall pitching from the Mets that you kind of lean that way. So to me, offense better Dodgers, pitching better Mets, that equates equal. I'd still, people are going to call me a Dodgers glazer, which is crazy. I think I'd still lean Dodgers here, just from the sheer overwhelming nature of their offense. That's like really the only reason.
Oh, boy. It is a good question. I'm going to pat myself a little bit on the back because I think the Mets slightly more because I know what I can count on with them right now. Paul Blackburn just made his season debut, 5 shutout innings last night. You know, we went into the year looking at that Mets rotation. We said, how in the world can you bring in a free agent for $800 million and go to battle with this rotation? Where literally every guy outside of Peterson had question marks, whether it was because of their past performance or their injury history or both. And now Sean Manaea is about to start a rehab assignment, so he's going to start to get close. He might be back in the next month or so. You're going to have 7 guys that you're comfortable starting with. When every other team is like looking around, including the Dodgers, like who's going to start this week for us? And I feel that way that's obviously the biggest difference. We could say Dodger fans are going to yell at me in the comments, hey, wait till we get healthy. Well, I can't wait because some of those big time bullpen arms that we're going to talk about in a second have arm injuries. And so we don't know how they're going to respond. Kirby Yates has got a hamstring. That one I'll listen. Everybody else is dealing with some sort of arm, shoulder, elbow, forearm. That stuff would scare the hell out of me. I don't think you can plan for October with guys who are coming off injuries and are in their 30s. I think that's a rough way to run your business.
I agree. I'm very curious to see what they do at the trade deadline because what they expected to have as far as starting pitching is clearly changed, and then some of the let's talk about injuries or poor performance of the bullpen. That's surely gives Dodger fans reason to hesitate. But again, I just think the offense is so overwhelming that it can compensate for that. But again, I think these two teams, and hey, Mets fans, if you're mad at me for saying they're equal, we were calling one of the better rosters ever assembled. So it's okay to be compared to the freaking LA Dodgers. It's all right.
Yeah, I think the Mets have been fantastic. And by the way, Lindor has hit 6 homers this year to lead off the game. I mean, what a huge mental edge over
So good.
other teams, right?
I mean, 1-0 is it's a great feeling as an offense to get your guy up there. Even if it's just a knock, it's nice to start the game off with a knock and a base runner and get the pitcher on his heels a little bit. But the homer it's a punch to the face right away. It's great.
Did you see the play he made? Oh, you probably didn't. You were working. He made a play which at the time saved what would have been the game-tying run. Dove all out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I watched the highlights. I didn't see the game live.
Yeah.
He's incredible, man.
I mean, we're going to look back at him and say over the past 30 years, one of the better shortstops, right, in baseball?
Yes.
Okay, good. Happy we agree on that. Now let's get to the plight of Tanner Scott. Last night, he got the ball in extra innings, so runner starts at second base, gives up a smash to Alvarez right out the gate, gives up another run as well. He continues to struggle. This is a guy they paid $72 million, $18 per year in the offseason to be their closer, and he has opened the door primarily because of his fastball.
Yeah, it's getting hit a lot, so it sucks right now. And last year I relied on it a lot, and this year it's been getting hit, and I'm missing locations.
I know we talked a little bit about his struggles last week, but let's do a little bit of a deeper dive here. Is this just kind of a bad 3-4 week run, or is there something going on here where the Dodgers cannot have enough confidence in him?
I think what he said is actually is accurate. It's been location of the fastball. Everything metrically looks the same. There's a little bit of drop into velo on the fastball, but it really is just location. He's pulling it glove side just a little bit more this year, which is making it more middle of the plate. If you go to his heat maps, like it's just up and over the plate more so than it was last year. Slider's been effective, but yeah, it's been the heater that's been hit. So I don't know if that's a mechanical issue to stop him from pulling it glove side. The arm angle is the same as last year. Nothing's really changed again on the pitch shape. It's just he's not locating it well. So there are times where, yeah, that can be a mechanical issue, or it's just you got to just do a better job locating. Maybe you need to have Will Smith needs to set up more outside. It can come down to a bunch of different things, but overall, it really has just been the location of his fastball.
Yeah, I know that some people will probably yell and scream and say, well, why Dave Roberts use him? Folks, they have pitched more innings at bullpen than any other bullpen out there. And you can't hide your $18 million a year reliever at this point when there's so many guys that are hurt, right? Blake Trinan, Bruce Dargretterall, we mentioned about Kirby Yates. Michael Kopech hasn't thrown a pitch yet this year. They just lost Evan Phillips. He's done. So they don't have those veterans down there that they can turn to. And if you're going to be afraid to use the guy you just paid 4 years and $72 million to, then you're really screwed. So they're going to have to keep throwing him out there until he gets it right, because they're going to need Tanner Scott to win the World Series again, in my opinion. And so let him take his lumps right now. Let him try and figure it out. If this is still happening in August and September, we might have a different discussion. But as it is, the first week of June, so be it. You got to live with it, and it sucks, and he stinks. He's got to stand there and answer questions, but that's where he is right now. That's where he is.
Agreed. I mean, again, I'll reiterate what I said earlier. Like, this is going to be a fascinating deadline for the Dodgers.
I agree. I think they're going to need. I mean, we just heard Tyler Glasnow tried to throw a bullpen the other day. You having trouble hearing me?
You're back now.
Oh, okay. I just said we just found out the other day that Tyler Glasnow threw a bullpen the other day and did not come out of it well. That he still has all this achiness all over his body, and he can't figure out where it's coming from or what's happening. So who knows if and when they can rely on him? Who knows about Blake Snell anytime in the near future? This is some weird stuff that's happening out there in LA. Weird stuff. But
I don't think they have like anybody just waiting in the wings ready to come up to make a big difference.
No. I mean, are you going to give Bobby Miller the ball and have any confidence in that? No, of course not. But the big picture here is that the Mets have done an outstanding job with their pitching and figuring out how to best use guys and to turn around.
Second year in a row, Chris.
What's that?
It's the second year in a row they've done this to us.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, the fact that Griffin Canning has gone from what he was, which was one of the worst statistical pitchers in baseball, to what he is this year is nothing short of amazins, if you will. Let us know in the comments section. Do you think that this is going to be a full year thing, that the Mets are going to stay right there? They've got the best record in the National League. They've taken back first place from the Philadelphia Phillies.
And not only have they been effective, these guys who had quote unquote question marks, they've been healthy too.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. And we just mentioned Blackburn returned and Manaea is around the corner. So things are looking up for you guys in Queens. Isn't that fun? Let us know who's the front runner for the National League. How worried are you about the Dodgers? How impressed are you with the Mets? A lot to get to in the comments section, and we greatly appreciate that. All right, today's episode, Baseball Today, it is brought to you by Brunt Workwear. Shoes and work boots. It used to mean sacrificing comfort or durability. If they felt good, they didn't last. If they lasted, they wrecked your feet. So Brunt Workwear, it finally ended the trade-off, designing boots that withstand the toughest job sites while feeling as comfortable as your favorite sneakers. They might be the most comfortable work boots on the planet, even right out of the box. Not only are they incredibly comfortable, but they also deliver real performance on the job. It doesn't stop there, as Brunt also offers a full line of high-performance gear. Now, Brunt didn't just make a durable work boot. They reinvented comfort for the hardest workers out there. And for a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at Brunt by using the code TODAY at checkout. All you have to do, head on over to bruntworkwear.com. Use the code TODAY. You're all set. After your purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show. That's Baseball Today. Tell them we sent you. You'll be happy. We'll be happy. Most importantly, you'll be feeling and looking great. It's that simple. Did you bring your Brunt work boots on your work trip?
I did not. Those are in my closet at home. I will be wearing them, all summers. I'm doing some yard work, or maybe I'll go on a hike up in the mountains. I'd be wearing those.
Okay, good.
They're nice looking boots, Chris. I might wear them to dinner.
I know. They are very, very nice. And for me, it's important because, I'm twice surgically repaired back. I can't just put anything on my feet and feel okay about walking around. Those things, they look good. They feel good as well, which was awesome. All right, I'm wearing a Halos hat today. Swilly, I know that's a big shout out to our girl, just joined the company. Halos didn't waste any time, setting a little record at Fenway.
2 runs in, nobody out. Mike swings and sends a drive out to left center field. Yeah, baby! Get that one up over the monster. Mike Trout's 10th of the year. Do I see 454 feet?
Yes, you did, Matty V. Yes, you did. Matty V got a little excited on that one, didn't he?
Yeah, I got a little Austin Powers there with the yeah, baby. Okay.
By the way, I don't know if you've noticed, 2 3-hit games for Trout in his return. He's hit safely in all 4. He's 8 for 18. Good to see.
That one, Chris, was an absolute laser. 112 off the bat, a 28-degree launch angle. And if you go 27 to 28 degrees, that's my favorite launch angle. So good job, Mike Trout.
The Angels, I talked to you about the setting a little bit of history. They became the first visiting team ever to crack 3 homers in the first inning of a game at Fenway Park, which opened what year, Trevor Plouffe?
1918.
Oh, do you know the year Titanic sunk?
I do not.
1912. It opened.
Okay, I was close.
Yeah, very close. It opened right before the Titanic sunk, I believe.
That's crazy that no teams hit 3 homers there in the first inning. All the games
strange.
Played there.
It is strange. Did you so what happens when you step into the batter's box for the first time and you see that wall? Are you just thinking, oh my God, I got to hit it over this thing? It's so close.
If you didn't have any advice, that's exactly what you would think. But, people tell you just do not try to hit the monster because it gets you into all sorts of bad habits. And plus, when you play there and you are a pull-oriented hitter, like they're going to pitch you away and try to make you go to the bigger part of the park. So you kind of have to get it out of your mind. And if it comes into play, it comes into play. But if you start thinking about it, the only thing it's lefties can think about hitting the monster. Righties should not be thinking about hitting the monster. But it's so cool. It's like that was my favorite place to play by far.
I did get to take BP there one time.
Did you get one off the monster?
I did not.
You didn't hear the metal rattling around?
Yeah, it hopped just short of the wall. So, but it was great to be able to do that. It was also one of those days. So Millar and I were doing a show up there for Intentional Talk. And, MLB Network has those ballpark cams. They have a couple of them, one right near one of the dugouts and one in center field, so they can always show BP when they want to during the day. and they were rolling on that. And Mad Dog was on MLB Central at the time. He was doing a segment, and they took a live shot of me. And it was one of my heavier times, let's just say. And I was wearing like a form-fitting shirt, so it wasn't the best. And Mad Dog starts ripping on me. He's like, Rose, mix in a salad, god damn it. Started yelling at me. And so all the hosts, led by Lauren Shahadi, she was like, Chris, I am so sorry that Mad Dog said all that about you. I was like, yeah, that was kind of bullshit, Mad Dog. And Mad Dog was the one who didn't text me.
Of course.
Of course.
We have beef, me and Mad Dog.
I know you do.
Or he has beef with me. I don't really think about him. How about that, Mad Dog?
He's actually really funny. He just, sometimes he just doesn't care. He just doesn't. Yeah. But that's not what this discussion is about. The big discussion we want to have is that Dennis Lin from the Athletics said the Padres are interested in Jarren Duran. So do you really think that slumping Boston will be on the wrong side of the deadline come July?
I don't necessarily even think that's what it has to be like for them to trade Jarren Duran. I mean, I think that they could be in contention and just decide that they obviously have a plethora of outfielders, and if they can get some starting pitching back into the organization, that they'd be willing to do that. I don't know, Chris. I mean, I think somebody has to go. I think that they do have too many outfielders there, guys that are big league ready, guys that can play a quality outfield in the big leagues for somebody. So I think it's not necessarily about them falling out of contention to trade Jarren Duran. I think they have to make a decision on who they want to trade. Is it a Willier? Is it a Jarren? I don't think they're going to trade Roman Anthony. I think Rafael is probably more impactful to their team than another team. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. But I do believe that they'll look around, and if they get a deal that they deem worthy, I think they'd be willing to pull the trigger regardless of where they're at in the standings.
Yeah, I think what they have to do is sit down and all agree on a tact they want this organization to go. Do you want to get rid of Jarren Duran, who isn't a free agent until 2029, by the way? So whatever you get back, you're talking about 3.5 seasons of control for a really, really good player.
Yeah, a guy that can put up MVP type numbers. Yeah,
right. I think he finished top 10 a season ago. So you can't just get rid of him just to clear a spot for Roman Anthony and call it a day. This really has to be well thought out, because I think what's going to happen if they don't do anything, the Red Sox are going to be in danger of putting together young players who are playing severely out of position or not playing enough. And being caught in the middle is a really, really terrible area. Let's say they do keep Duran there and he continues to block Roman Anthony. Or if you do want to bring up Anthony, and then you have to move Duran to center, and then you move Rafaela to the infield, even though he's got 10 defensive runs saved in center field and he can really track it down. Marcelo Meyer's already playing third. He's actually a shortstop. And now Christian Campbell's the one who's taking reps at first base because Casas is out the year. And, oh, by the way, Alex Bregman, we have no idea when he's coming back. We're asking a lot of young guys to not only adjust to the big league level, but they're playing out of position, and it's going to affect your defense. And people can say whatever they want, but defense will affect you and will give you longer innings up there at Fenway, which is something you don't want your pitchers doing, particularly when they're not very good after Garrett Crochet in the rotation. They have to really sit down and figure out which tack do we want to go, and are we willing to give up Jarren Duran for 85 cents on the dollar just to make things a little easier?
Like, does Arizona pull the trigger on that? And I guess, well, I was thinking, like, some of the guys in their walk year, the Red Sox would not do that for somebody in their walk year. So I'm just trying to think of where it would fit for him to go. A team that would be willing to give up starting pitching for him. There's not too many teams that are like flush with starting pitching. I mean, the Phillies are actually one of them, but that would be a hell of a trade for them. They could really actually use that, put him in center field and just kind of go. I don't know who they'd be willing to give up. They do have a lot of starting pitching, but I mean, guys that are tradable, I don't know if they really have that.
But you have to give it up for guys who are under control. I mean, that's
what I'm saying. I don't know if they have. I mean, if they're willing to give up some of their pitching prospects, I don't think they're willing to do that either.
I don't know. I mean, throw some ideas out there in the comments section. Something that's got to make sense here, folks. I mean, we're talking about Jarren Duran, 3.5 seasons of control left. So you need a pitcher that is at least 2 seasons of control after this, I would think.
I'm trying to think if the Mariners could use him.
Yeah.
They could use him. They could put him in right field. They got Randy in left. They could put Julio in center and then him in right. I mean, that'd be a nice looking outfield.
Yeah.
And they have controllable pitchers.
They do.
Okay, we did it.
That wasn't bad.
Thanks.
That was really good.
Some would call me a decent baseball analyst.
We just talked about the Tigers at the top of the show. They do have some young pitchers that, Reese Olson is a guy who's under control.
Got to be controllable assets.
Yeah. You're not even thinking about giving up Jackson Joe.
I think to pry Jarren Duran away, it's going to take some prospects and a starting pitcher that at least has next year controllable.
I got to be honest with you. It's possible the Tigers are an interesting choice.
Okay.
They definitely have prospects, and they have some young guys in their rotation. Interesting. Throw out some good ones for us. We kind of did that a little bit on the fly, but we'll see. Boston's got to get going, though. Only the A's, White Sox, and O's have more losses than Boston in the American League right now. That is not good enough. And I know that they haven't made the playoffs since 2021, so fans are like, really? We're going to get rid of one of our more exciting, controllable players for what? Better make sure you hit on this one.
Well, this is what you do. You deal from positions of strength. That's what you do. I mean, this is clearly an organizational position of strength.
Yeah.
And it has to be the right deal. We're not just saying throw him out there to bring up Roman Anthony. Like you said, that's not what we're asking for. Like they need to be able to get a pretty penny for him.
Mm-hmm. I hope he does get traded. I like seeing big trades. I'm a big fan of it.
You do like seeing big trades. You're all about that.
I am. I think it's fun. I think it's fun because anytime it's way better than free agent signings. That really only affects one team.
Jerry DiPoto and I looked each other in the eyes in Seattle.
And
he was terrified.
Yeah, I understand it. You can be a little intimidating.
I kind of wanted to say something to him like, hey man, what do you got up your sleeve, bro?
I didn't
do that. I didn't do it.
All right. Hey, it's showtime for Jac Caglianone. Expected to make his major league debut Tuesday night in the Battle of Show Me State. That's Royals and Cards. Royals, of course, are power-starved. Will he come up and change the way we view Kansas City's lineup?
Yeah, yes, we will. I mean, I think just adding him into the mix creates obviously a little bit of length. The swing and miss stuff concerns me a little bit because pitchers at the big league level know how to exploit that very well. So that's going to be interesting to see if he can kind of curb that down a little bit and make better swing decisions. But he's going to hit some homers. He's going to have some big games. I'm assuming he's going to have some times where he looks a little bit overmatched as well. But I'm excited to see him, Chris. I'm not a huge prospect guy, but we've been hearing about him for so long since he was – where did he play, at Florida?
Mm-hmm.
Since he was in college, we heard about the two-way guy, and now we're seeing him, earn his way to the big leagues as a hitter. I think it's cool. I'm excited to watch him. Just, I always say, just temper your expectations. It's a tough league up here.
Royals averaging 3.3 runs per game. Dead last with 34 home runs. It's not even close.
He's got a pretty swing.
Yeah. You ready for this? Cal Raleigh, in his last 27 plate appearances, is at 6 home runs. The Royals, in their last 543 plate appearances, have hit 5 home runs. So, yes, he will change the complexion of this lineup, certainly how it looks. I'll be curious to see how playing the outfield will affect him if he's out there most of the time. And he's been working with, former major league coach and Rusty Kuntz down there on left and right field. I don't know. I am curious. You tell me, when a young guy comes to the big leagues, don't they just challenge him right off the bat and see if he can hit a major league fastball? I don't think you can do that with this guy.
They used to do that, but now, every minor league stadium has, all the pitch tracking, all of that stuff. So like they understand now. There's more complex scouting reports that are coming out, and so like they already know exactly where his holes are. So I think depending on the pitcher, I don't think it is like it used to be where like, yeah, here's a fastball away. What are you going to do with it? I don't think that's the case. I think they're going to exploit the holes right away, just because of the more detailed scouting report that they have.
Yeah, I know. I'll be glued. I'll be fascinated. I want to see his at-bats. We're going to be talking about it on tomorrow's show. I think that'll be great. He's going to be the first Royals hitter to debut less than a year after being drafted since... Ready for this? First Royals hitter to make his debut less than a year after being drafted since Vincent Bo Jackson. 1980.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now you got everyone excited.
Well, Bo wasn't great right out the gate. He got a handful of games in 86, and then he started to wow us. Okay. That's the athlete right there where we as fan bases missed out. I'm telling you, y'all might be familiar with the name Bo Jackson. You might have seen some of the highlights. He was the freak of all freaks. I'm telling you, he would have been a top 5 running back in history, not even close if he had played a dozen years in the NFL. And baseball-wise, he just was unparalleled with his athleticism.
Isn't that so, like, it happens to every athlete. Like, every athlete eventually gets disrespected by a future generation. Like Babe Ruth. Imagine going and telling somebody, like, in the 1920s that Babe Ruth, come on, that guy would strike out every time in today's game. Imagine telling them that. Now we disrespect his name all the time. Like, Ohtani's going to get to that level. We're like, yeah, he was all right. Like, he was good. Yeah, great. But have you seen this guy in today's game? Like, that's tough to think about.
Well, I don't think anybody is disrespecting Bo Jackson or anything like that. It's just we missed out.
Well, we don't know. I mean, this generation would be like, all right, cool. He played 2 sports. Awesome. And the amount of respect will not be there.
Okay, that part, yes. I still remember I was in my dorm room at Miami University watching the Bengals-Raiders playoff game. And he just took a little pitch to the right, and Kevin Walker, a linebacker, grabbed him, dragged him down. I was like, God, that looked awkward. And we didn't think much of it at the time, and it ended up ruining the career of the greatest 2-sport athlete that we would have seen. Freaking unreal. Oh, so good. Let us know, Royals fans, your expectations for Jac, J-A-C. Those are his initials, by the way. Did you know that? Did you know that? His middle name is like Allen or something. So J-A-C.
Awesome.
It's cute. We got a little bit more to go still, right after this. Today's episode of Baseball Today is sponsored by Moo. You know what? I've seen Moo pop up everywhere lately, especially on Mets games. If you don't already know, Moo is a global brokerage that serves over 25 million users across major markets. That includes the United States, Canada, and Singapore, Japan, and even more. Like other brokerages, Moo offers $0 commissions and contract fees on stocks, ETFs, and options. But unlike brokerages, Moo also offers a wide range of tools, analysis, and educational resources for free. To help celebrate their new partnership, they're doubling the promotion for our audience, now offering up to 60 free stocks and 2 sweet tickets to a Mets game with a qualified deposit. Not to mention, Moo users can get free tickets to all Monday home games at Citi Field. Who knows? You might even see me there in the near future. Go all in on Moo by clicking the link in the bio or scanning the QR code on the screen to earn up to 60 free stocks and 8.1% on your uninvested cash for the first 3 months. Thanks again to Moo for sponsoring this video. All right, quick announcement, by the way. Plouffe's got a day game on Thursday, so I think I'm going to run the show by myself again. It'll be an Ask Rose Anything. So ARA, I guess, is what we're going to do. It was really, really fun the first time we did it. We're going to try it again, which means we're going to need your help. So you have to leave questions in the comments section here on our YouTube channel. So Dan, make sure you, I don't know, pin this or mark it or whatever you do in the vernacular. Everybody's got to come through. Baseball questions, fun questions, personal questions are okay. Let's keep it clean, everybody. But let's do some fun work. So we got that We need 2 days worth of questions over the Tuesday and Wednesday episodes so we can have them ready to go for Thursday's show. So let's
I
get
want
them
to
in
put a
there.
question in.
Yeah, you should. Definitely should.
I'm going to.
They all did
You need
great.
to talk about the Twins on this dang podcast more.
Oh, my God. Calm down. ALCS rematch part 2 in New York. Guards took 2 of 3 from the Yankees back in April. Big news here is that Yankees reliever Luke Weaver expected to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a bad hammy. That would presumably move Devin Williams back into the closer's role. How much should Yankee fans be sweating over that news?
I mean, they should be sweating a little bit. At least I'll say this: it's a leg issue, which is much better than an arm issue with the pitcher. So that's one thing you can take solace in. He's going to come back. He's going to throw for you again. But Luke Weaver's been the Yankees fans' security blanket over the last couple of years as their closer that they name struggles. They have Luke Weaver there; they can put him in. But Devin Williams going back there. I mean, he's over his last, I believe, like 10 starts, or 10 appearances, 11 appearances, excuse me. He's got 10 innings pitched to a 1.8. So things are tracking better for him. You have him. And you know what? At this point of the season, again, almost like a Kerry Carpenter issue here. Yankees are going to make the postseason. Like, I think it's great that Devin Williams is going to get back and have to go to the ultimate high leverage role. Let's see if he can do that. So it could be a blessing in disguise. Sure, you want Weaver out there. It's a leg injury, and I think it's going to be good to see Devin Williams back in the role. So I guess I'm telling you, don't worry about it. Yankees fans, going to be okay.
That's what I would say. Devin Williams has been nails. Actually, 11 of his last 13 appearances, I believe, unscored upon. Whereas out the gate, in his first 8 innings work, he gave up a dozen runs, 10 of which were earned. He was getting knocked all over the place. It felt like every night Meredith Marakovitz on Yes in the clubhouse was saying, "So what went wrong tonight?" And all he heard is fastball, changeup, problems, got issues. He's fine. He's going to be fine. He was a multi-time All-Star in Milwaukee. He was arguably the most consistent closer in baseball the last couple of years in the National League. Like, he's fine. Even if he might blow a game here in the next 4 to 6 weeks, or 2 or 3, he's still going to be fine.
I do think he is. I think there are times where he can tip his pitches. And, we've talked about that before. I think he needs to be really careful with that. It's interesting. He's kind of flipped his changeup and four-seam usage. Last year, he was like 55% four-seam, 45% change. It's just opposite this year. But yeah, I think he is. I think he needs this time to figure it out. This is great. I think it's going to end up being a blessing in disguise.
All right, last thing before we get out of here. Mariners announced they're going to retire Randy Johnson's number 51 next season. They're doing the same for Ichiro, who, when he came over to the States in 2001, called Randy Johnson, asked him to wear number 51. Randy was like, "Of course, I'm honored. Great." So Ichiro's going to the Hall of Fame. He'll have his year this year, and then Randy Johnson will have it in 2026. Are you shocked that number 51 was not retired a bit sooner?
I really haven't given it any thought, to be honest with you. But yeah, both those guys wearing that number, it should never be worn again in the Mariners organization. That's for sure. Ichiro's still out there, by the way, taking ground balls and throwing to bases every day in Seattle.
Is there better combo in the history of the sport where 2 guys have worn the same number for a franchise?
Oh, not the same. Okay, I was going to say 42 with Jackie Robinson and Mariano Rivera, but not the same franchise.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody in the history that number is Seattle and is sacred. And by the way, I know that Randy Johnson.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Me and Eric Chavez wearing number 3 with the A's. No,
it's possible. Yeah,
A's fans still hate me for that.
Stop that. How about other famous 24s for the Minnesota Twins?
Tom Brunansky.
Tom Brunansky was a great one. He was a member of he was the right fielder on their 87 squad. Didn't Mac also wear 24 for them? I'd have to look.
Matthew Lecroy wore it.
Oh, okay.
Who else wore it? Josh Donaldson wore it.
He did?
Yeah, he did. For the Twins.
He wasn't 20.
I think somebody might have already been 20.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. That'll do it for today. Have a good call. Last night I tuned in for a little while, and then I was like, all right, it's 6-0. Sorry, Plouffe. I got to go
They
listen
came
to
back.
the Dodgers and Mets. So make it a more competitive game, and I'll keep tuned in on the app.
Okay. I got you.
Thank you. Don't forget to get your questions in. Get them in by Wednesday night to help us out. So just type them in the comments. Let's get like a few hundred in there. I love being able to pare it down. Our intern Sawyer does a remarkable job for that. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, our awesome intern Sawyer, that is the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you hump day on Baseball Today.